How you doing, good people? This is the 8-Bit Animal. And one thing I will say, games where you control tanks or games that had tank controls always had a hard time transitioning to the NES. And that's mainly because the NES control pad was like a little 4-directional cross thing. And that made things a bit unwieldy unless the developers kind of reworked the controls. And for a lot of games, that didn't happen. So you ended up with some kind of clumsy controls. Atari Warriors, the first game, as good as it was, which it was okay, it stumbled in that regard. The second game was dreadful, slow and clunky. The third game controlled a lot better. It was a lot faster, a lot smoother. The best example of tank controls, I want to say, on the NES, where you controlled an actual tank, was probably Iron Tank. So most of the games that had like tank controls and stuff like that didn't necessarily work out too great on the NES. This one does okay. It's an unlicensed port of an Atari arcade title, so you know what that means. This was published by Tengen. It's from 1988, the same year that the arcade game was released, and it's probably one of the better things that Tengen published on the NES. Today, we're going to take a look at Vindicators. Now, Vindicators is a straight port of the arcade game. You control a tank, and you go to these different space stations, taking out these enemies, taking out these aliens and stuff like that. I guess to defend freedom? I don't know. But in addition to fighting these aliens and building up your points and getting to the end of the levels and all that, you also are racing your fuel gauge. So you have to constantly collect fuel pickups, and if you take damage, your fuel meter goes down, stuff like that. You're racing the clock, literally, in this game. So it adds a little bit of tension to what's going on here. But all in all, this game ain't really bad. It's a okay game. And for my money, if I had to pick, if I had to rank all of the Tengen releases, this one probably, I would put this one probably behind Super Sprint, which Super Sprint's kind of closer to the middle, but on the higher end of the middle, with like stuff like Skull and Crossbones being all the way at the bottom, and Tetris, Klax, and Pac-Man being on the good end. This is another example of the feud between Atari and Nintendo, and this game actually working out for the good, because we got a lot of that little situation was kind of muddy there for a second. I'm glad it worked out, because we ended up with some pretty good games, this one being one of them. A solid little tank game. The controls, like I said, take a little getting used to, because you have to move and then adjust your turret and all that, and you gotta switch between your smart bombs and your cannons, and all the power-ups add to that stuff, and use the stars you pick up during levels, to buy power-ups. I would say make sure you are able to buy fuel, because that's the biggest commodity in this game. That's like making sure that your health meter is full. I mean, it is making sure your health meter is full, but you know. But yeah, Vindicators is solid. Wouldn't kick it out the house. But Iron Tank is a better tank game, so you know, apples to apples and all that. Now, if you want a copy of Vindicators, about $10 will get you one for a loose cart. It's not a bad game. It's actually a pretty reasonably priced game, and it's, you know, it's a good bargain for a not bad video game. It's pretty solid. So yeah, if you like tanks, you like the idea of having to relive what's going on with the gas prices right now and scrounging for gas, this one might be up your alley. This has been the 8-Bit Animal, and I'll catch you beautiful people tomorrow. Tomorrow. Hey, Goofy, don't let your little sister go to the circus by herself.